also joining until March or something, the class?
Which class?
Some kind of class that writing something.
Might be I have to do it.
안녕하세요. 안녕하세요.
Hello.
Hello, and teacher.
야, 잠깐만, 이 너무 웃기네. 전혀 없습니다.
다음부터 뵙고.
Wenn das glaube ich hier bitte an dir vorbeigeht, ausreißen. Visa-Verlängerung abgelehnt. Wie sieht's aus? I will restore it up to some of the first, yeah. And then what's next, then it's ready. The mountain, taking the mountain border and like no, not top, like really mountain border and really so and
Doctor, could you pin a corsage on your jacket? Yep. Oh, good.
너무 예쁘다.
성함이랑 같이 부탁드릴게요.
자, 엄마 글자 못 알아보니까 이름 쓰세요.
엄마 글자를 못 알아보다니.
그렇게 싫어하지 않는 거예요?
이렇게 번역기 돌려야겠다 지금.
부산대 보정량입니다.
네네, 안녕하세요.
Thank you. How many? English only.
They wanted to meet you from their interview, but they are in Germany. They want to meet you, but you are.
Welcome to the second graduation ceremony at FAU Busan, the branch campus of Friedrich-Alexander-Universität Erlangen-Nuernberg in South Korea. My name is Markus Zwiefler, and I'm an exchange student from Erlangen, currently studying here in Busan. Together with my co-host Ms. Sung-Hwa Chong, a doctoral candidate in bioprocess engineering and one of the pioneering first-generation students who will accompany you through today's program.
안녕하세요 여러분. 한국에 설립된 프리드리 알렉산더 대학교 부산 캠퍼스 제2회 졸업식에 오신 여러분을 환영합니다. 저는 1기 졸업생이며 생물공정공학 박사과정연구원인 정선화입니다. 현재 FAU 부산에서 공부하고 있는 FAU 본교 교환학생 마커스 트리플러와 함께 오늘 졸업식의 본 행사 진행을 맡게 되었습니다.
We will now hand over the floor to Mr. Thomas Schreck, who will give today's opening remarks. He's the CEO of FAU Busan GmbH and the former Chancellor of FAU Erlangen-Nuernberg. Please warmly welcome him on stage.
지금부터 지난 FAU 본부 전임 이사장이셨고 현재 FAU 부산 캠퍼스의 CEO로 재직 중이신 토마스 쉐 이사장님의 졸업식 기획사가 있겠습니다.
안녕하십니까. Most esteemed guests, dear alumni and alumni of FAU Busan, but most important, dear students and families. Please let me first of all give you a warm and heartfelt welcome to the second graduation ceremony of FAU Busan. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of FAU, of President Professor Karl-Heinz Krüske, and our whole governing board, also on the more personal level here on FAU Busan campus on this very special occasion. I would like to congratulate all of our graduating students for their accomplishments and the successful completion of a German engineering degree in chemical and bioengineering in Korea. After today, each one of you will be allowed to carry the title Master of Science from Friedrich-Alexander-Universität Erlangen-Nuernberg, because it is a genuine German degree we confer. With it, you will embark on a bright and prosperous future. Today's festive event gives me the opportunity to shortly report on our accomplishments, from the initial establishment of the branch campus to the manifold developments that are currently taking place. Following the generous invitation by Busan Metropolitan City and the then Ministry of Education, Science and Technology on the one hand, and the Ministry of Knowledge Economy on the other, we succeeded in establishing a branch campus in Busan dedicated to teaching and research in German global engineering. As of today, we have successfully educated 2 student generations. We have broadened the horizons of young high potentials, of future leaders in science and industry who are about to begin their professional careers. When leaving us, the students have not only passed an interdisciplinary curriculum, compiled a written master thesis, and completed the mandatory internship in industry or research institutions, they have also grown as individuals. A complex degree, such as the one we are awarding today, relies on manifold forms of support. Let me therefore seize this opportunity to thank our supporters. I would like to welcome the representatives from the German Embassy in Seoul, the Counselor for Scientific Affairs, Mrs. Marina Pauli, and with her our supporter from the very beginning, the Honorary Consul of Germany in Busan, Mrs. Jang Sun Kim. Through the past year, the Embassy has supported FAU Busan in every form imaginable. Therefore, I would like to thank Ambassador Rolf Maffael and his entire team for their outstanding engagement and their continuous support. I'm especially pleased to welcome Professor Yu Chun Yoon from the Office of Strategic Planning of MOTI, with whom we have worked so well in order to prepare the session of the joint conference in October in Seoul. In this context, I also have to mention another important companion of FAU Busan. The German Academic Exchange Service has supported our project from the very beginning and continues to feature us in various events. A warm welcome to the representative from the DAAD Seoul office, Dr. Hok Yong Ri, and heartfelt thanks also to the director Christoph Pollmann. From Kiat, I cordially welcome Mr. Sung Jin Baik. We are very grateful for your presence as your entity has already funded successful research at FAU Busan. From initially humble beginnings, FAU Busan has successfully developed into a fully working university that has already established its own graduation tradition. This year, we have furthermore increased our efforts to reach out to the public and showcase the unique combination of research-driven teaching and practical work in the laboratories that characterizes our degree and follows Humboldt's ideal that Germany has successfully been relying on for so many a year. In 2014, the academic realm, as well as the entire project of the branch campus, have been evaluated by Korean experts and been rated excellent. Both MOE and MOTI have reassured us of their commitment and have just recently extended their support for 3 additional years. In this context, I would like to express my sincere thanks to all our Korean supporters with whom we have cooperated so closely within the past 5 years. I would like to welcome the representatives of Busan Metropolitan City, Mr. Myung Sok Choi and Mrs. Woo Jin Park. They are our closest collaborators, sharing with us all daily hardships of developing a new academic format for the benefit of this country. I'm certain that we will continue our fruitful cooperation in the future. Another constant supporter of our endeavor is the Busan Jinhae Free Economic Zone, in which FAU Busan is located. I welcome General Director Jae-han Kim and his team. As Korea is currently contemplating to completely innovate its engineering education in order to invigorate the economy, FAU Busan has been characterized as a role model. In this context, FAU's President, Professor Gluske, introduced the concept of FAU's pioneering branch campus in Busan to a distinguished audience in Seoul in October of this year. The conference on future and technology was jointly organized by MOTI, ADECO and the German Embassy. Under the title Engineers for the Future, OSP and FAU Busan brought together notable representatives of the Korean engineering community. The panel discussion developed insightful possibilities for a high-level engineering education. Due to the importance of the topic, the debate initiated by the conference is likely to be continued in next year's proceedings. Let me therefore seize the opportunity to welcome the representatives from business and industry. I welcome the representatives from the Korean-German Chamber of Commerce, Secretary General Mrs. Barbara Zollmann, and from the European Chamber of Commerce in Korea, I welcome Director Yang Shin Ahn and Secretary General Yang Chun Kim. A special welcome goes to Managing Director Erik Zindel from Siemens Energy Solutions in Seoul, and a thank you for opening this morning's first German-Korean conference on wind energy. Siemens and FAU do not only cooperate intensively in Erlangen, but we have managed to transfer this form of preferential cooperation to Korea as well. Another regional representative from a company in Franconia I would like to welcome is Managing Director Kwon Joo Lee from Stadler, Korea, an international company seated in Nuremberg with especially close links to FAU. In order to enhance the close connections between the university and international as well as domestic industry, FAU Busan has signed several memoranda of understanding. These agreements create tangible benefits for the students as they facilitate internship positions for the potential completion of master theses in industry in Germany as well as in Korea. Graduates who have experienced an international working environment have the best perspectives to embark on an international career. In the academic realm, FAU Busan has also developed significantly in the passing year. We have intensified our relations with other universities in Korea. The cooperation between FAU Busan and PNU has also progressed further. This year we have handed in several joint research proposals, identified further potential for cooperation, and the third joint interchange seminar has taken place. I would like to welcome the Vice President for External Affairs, Professor Ho Guang-chung from Busan National University. From the Eco Energy Research Institute, Professor Jae Kyun Lee, thank you for joining us. From Dong-A University, I would like to welcome Andreas Piedersdorfer, the Director of the Institute of German Studies. Furthermore, we are very delighted that FAU Busan has arrived in the Korean academic community and is beginning to be recognized in Seoul as well. I would like to thank Professor Delgado for his unwilling engagement. Due to his expertise, his excellent academic credentials, and his enduring efforts, we can proudly declare that FAU Busan is part of the groundbreaking initiative supported by MOTI. The Engineering Development Research Center, EDRC, is a consortium in which universities and companies collaborate to train excellent engineers and facilitate technological transfer. Just 2 weeks ago, we were able to welcome Professor Jong Hoon Han and Professor Jae Hyun Cho from Seoul National University in Erlangen, where the close connection to industry FAU has established could be showcased through a most illustrious program. I would also like to welcome our European partner here in Korea from the Ghent University, but I think he hasn't arrived so far. After a highly important year 2013, in which German-Korean relations celebrated their 130th anniversary, FAU Busan experienced its very own year of intense German-Korean relations. During her state visit to Germany in March of this year, Honorable President Park Chung-hee remarked on the innovative education policies in Germany, such as vocational training and dual studies. Approximately 2 weeks ago, I was intrigued to read in the Korean Herald about a speech President Park had delivered at a symposium called Achieving Hope, meaning happiness of people through education, innovation in Korean education for a creative economy. She talked about her idea of a creative economy with which she wants to establish, I cite her verbally, a new education model that encourages students creatively in a departure from the conventional ones focused on rote memorization of facts. Taking these presidential words into consideration, FAU Busan is on the forefront of a modern engineering education in Korea. All of this would not be possible without an excellent team in both academic and administrative affairs. I would like to thank our campus president, Professor Rainer Buchholz, who unfortunately cannot join us today. Furthermore, I would like to thank our dedicated Vice President, Dr. Christoph Lindenberger, for his unyielding commitment engagement in FAU Busan. I also want to thank the members of the flying faculty for their support. Dr. Marco Haumann and Dr. Anna Becker are with us today. As research always involves teams, I would like to thank the postdoctoral researchers at FAU Busan, Dr. Giovanni Luzzi and Dr. Sobiakto Lökman, for their continued engagement. In addition, I want to thank the entire team of doctoral candidates at FAU Busan, Mr. José Agudo, Mr. Joachim Hahn, Ms. Sun Hwa Chung, Mr. Matthias Reichert, and Mr. Mark Williams. Last but not least, I would like to thank my administrative teams in Busan and in Erlangen. Mr. Sung-Ho Beck, Mr. Hee-Che Yang, Ms. Chung Mi Lee, Mr. Myung-Chu Ok, and Mr. Hu-Chi Wang, as well as Mrs. Katharina Sommer, Mrs. Doris Kühlers, and Mrs. Laura Madea. I would like to thank all of you who have diligently contributed to the success of FAU Busan and will continue to do so. Our reputation has made FAU Busan remain in the focus of most distinguished guests. In March 2014, we were able to welcome the Honorable Minister of Trade, Industry and Energy, Sang Ji-Yoon, on campus. As hidden champions are one of the areas of focus of Korean policymakers today, the Minister paid special attention to our mandatory internships and the ties to industry that have already been established. And 2 days ago, we were very honored with the presence of the Honorable Minister of Education and Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Wang, who personally visited our campus here. We discussed further cooperative ventures, and with a specific interest in laboratory safety, the Minister became well informed about the German safety standards that govern the work in our laboratories. To put it in a nutshell, FAU Busan is on the forefront of a modern engineering education in Korea. What now is the model for our successful graduates? Lectures creating an atmosphere of discussion and personal development, teaching based on long-term learning and independent thinking, thus stimulating critical thinking and creativity alike, including independent hands-on experience in research. In conclusion, let me once again congratulate our successful graduates, their parents and their families. I'm sure the master's degree FAU is conferring to you today, and it is a genuine German degree, gives you the brightest opportunities for your future, whether it will be in industry or research. In a few years' time, we hope that you will reflect on your German engineering education in Korea favorably, and that you keep in touch as our alumni and alumni. Congratulations, good luck, and a most prosperous future for our graduates of 2014. Kamsahamnida.
Our first musical interlude, Our Tenor, is closely connected to FAU. The wife of the university's eponym, Friedrich, the Markgraven Wilhelmine of Prussia, composed this piece of music herself. She was a patron of the arts and composed an opera in the 1740s, which was first performed for an audience in 1993. If you call FAU's administration in Germany and our foot on hold, you will also hear this melody.
이제 여러분께서 첫 번째로 들으실 곡은 FAU의 역사와 긴밀한 연관이 있는 음악입니다. 프리드리히 알렉산더 대학교 설립자 중에 한 분이신 프리드리히 부인으로 이 오페라 악의 노래는 독일 북부 프로이센 조의 귀족 마그라빈 빌헬미네가 작곡한 곡인데요. 그녀는 1940년대 당시 많은 예술 활동을 포함했고 1993년에는 이 오페라가 처음으로 대중에게 초연되었습니다. 아마 여러분께서 독일에 있는 FAU 행정실로 전화를 해보시면 전화 연결음으로 이 멜로디를 들으실 수 있을 겁니다.
Mrs. Marina Pauli will give a congratulatory remark. Please give her a round of applause.
중앙국립대사관 과학기술부 첨사관이신 마리나 파울리 씨를 이 자리로 모시겠습니다. 큰 박수 부탁드립니다.
Dear Mr. Schock, dear ladies and gentlemen, professors, students, scholars, and dear graduates and guests. It is a great pleasure to welcome all of you to this special occasion today, the graduation of the second batch of master graduates at the FAU Busan. Not only this is a special day for you, dear graduates, I think it is also a special day for the university itself, its founders, its staff, and of course for Germany and Korea. As you all know, the FAU Busan is the first German campus in South Korea. Its establishment has been a quite ambitious project. It was only possible due to the lasting and enormous support of the Korean Ministry of Technology, Industry and Energy, MOTI, the Busan Metropolitan City, and Busan Jinhae Free Economic Zone. Therefore, I would like to convey great thanks to the committed Korean partners who are playing a pivotal role in the present and future development of FAU Busan. Without them, we wouldn't be able to gather here today to celebrate this graduation ceremony. Looking at the happy faces of this year's graduates, at all the excellent facilities here, and at the university's numerous research projects, I'm delighted to say that FAU Busan campus is on a very promising path. Since the first students started their study and research here in 2011, the university and its partners have done a very great job in achieving an excellent reputation. and thus attracting plenty of qualified applicants for its outstanding master program. Moreover, the mandatory internship program allows the students to expand their professional as well as their personal horizon. These internships, either in Germany or in Korea or even in third countries, are mutually beneficial both for the students and for the companies. The close relation that FAU is fostering with industry is likely to give the students an excellent start in their professional career. Beside all of the university's outstanding education and research activities, let's not forget about the significance for the academic exchange between Germany and Korea. I'm sure that the fruitful cooperation will enhance the Korean-German partnership in the engineering field in general. But first and foremost, we are here today to celebrate you, dear graduates. During the last 2 years, you were an essential part of FAU Busan and helped to promote the university's excellent reputation. I'm pretty sure that all of you worked very hard and did their best to succeed this ambitious and challenging master program, which is not just about studying the relevant knowledge, but about learning how to do your own research projects and to work independently. Hence, all of today's graduates can be sure that they are well prepared for the challenging tasks lying ahead of them. After 2 years of hard work, you can proudly call yourselves Chemical and Bioengineering Master of Science. I would like to congratulate also on behalf of Ambassador Raphael, who regrets that he cannot be here today. I wish you all the best for your personal and professional future. Congratulations.
As the chairholder of the Institute of Fluid Mechanics in Erlangen and the director of all activities of the LSTM here in Busan, Professor Dr. Antonio Delgado will now remark on recently successful academic achievements. Please give him a warm welcome.
FAU 부산 캠퍼스 유체역학 담당 지도교수이신 안토니오 델가도 교수님께서 성공적인 연구발전 현황에 대해 말씀해 주시겠습니다. 환영의 박수 부탁드립니다.
Distinguished guests, dear students, dear parents, dear co-workers, dear colleagues, it is a very big pleasure for me to have the possibility to address to you some words from the point of view of research and ties to industry. Research is very important, of course, in connection to any university education, and we have tried to connect the research also to subject of industry. This is a very important thing in engineering education. Now, speaking about research, I think most of you know that we have different sections at FAU Busan: bioprocess engineering, chemical reaction engineering, engineering thermodynamics, biochemical process engineering, fluid mechanics, mechanical process engineering. In the last year, the research area has been extended, to my opinion, a lot. We have started, for example, with exploitation techniques of methane hydrides deposits, particle separation technologies, hydrocyclones. Of course, we have continued with the research on ionic liquids in engineering, marine biotechnology, microalgae, and antiviral substances. We have introduced more and more modeling and simulation. As in consequence of this, or in connection to this, we have also started with virtual engineering of complex technical systems. We started also from the beginning on with processes that occur at very high pressure techniques in biotechnology. And we have also carried out some research on the field of fluid machine advanced control and automation. Now, the researcher, the teacher, the member of the flying faculty are well situated in Germany. The professors of the flying faculty and the member of here of FAU Busan are members in Germany of different excellence and interfaculty initiatives, amongst other, for example, of the engineering of advanced materials. This is an excellence cluster in Germany. We are also member of the School of Advanced Optical Technologies. Part of us is also working on the field of numerical simulation, and we are carrying out our work also in connection to the Central Institute of Scientific Computing. And last but not least, we are also contributing to the progress on the field of energy, on the energy campus Nuremberg. Now, in the last 2 years, we have achieved from the Seoul National University, and as you can see here, 13 different universities are participating in total fields, 27 professors and 218 graduate students. But more than that, a large number of companies, very important companies, are also participating. You can see here among them at the moment are also global players. So the first one is a project that is suggested for Samsung Heavy Industry. Our work in connection to this is to consider and study hydrocyclones and the separation process. And we have two different work to be done. The first one is numerical simulation of the process in the hydrocyclone, but even more important is to establish a novel optical technology for the separation process. Second case that I want to discuss a little bit is suggested by FAU, Shipbuilding and Marine Engineering. And in this case, we are started looking for the possibility to predict the fire and gas in dangerous processes in connection with fire and gas in connection to, for example, large-scale plants on the ocean. Our work is in part the classical work to be done, but we have also introduced a new process step. This process step we have the possibility to provide to the best students of our FAU Busan scholarships. And our task is to give an additional specialization of master students and doctoral candidates to the field of wind turbines. It is very important to mention this education cannot be carried out only here in Korea, it must be carried out in part in Germany. In Germany we have large-scale wind tunnels, for example, and the students not only should be able to manage the theory, but also to carry out experiments. These experiments are performed in Germany. Now, speaking about wind turbine experts, we have not only to have a look to the, let me say, more flow-related processes, but we also have to have a look to the design of such systems. These are complex systems with different dynamics, and our program has also a part that is, for example, related to the torque match turbines and design and optimization, but also a part also of the electrical components. Now, next one, please. As I have already mentioned, this program is sponsored by FAU Busan, and this morning we started with the first international conference on wind energy. It is the first international conference between Germany and Korea. And as you can see here, a different number of professors were involved, and we have participation of 4 different universities at least. And most of that, or a part of that, is also coming from Korea. The keynote lecture has been given this morning by, as I already mentioned, by Siemens, or let me say the person to present the Siemens. And we have also participation of, it's also very important for us, of different students. And we have in total presentation of 7 master students And one of our PhD students has taken also responsibility for the third session that will take place tomorrow. Now, I come to the last comments on the field of research. And it is very important to emphasize that we have very particular opportunity for young researcher. We can offer the possibility to establish the international networks, not only between university but also between research and industry. We can also award German doctoral degree. We have already started, as already mentioned, joint research with different Korean university. And our students could get also access to an intercultural working environment. And of course, we have also an interdisciplinary cooperation between different engineering fields. Speaking about ties to industry, here is a selection of the company that has offered, for example, internships for our students. This company, the number of companies that offers such possibility is increasing more and more, and this is of course also, let me say, a response on the high quality of our students. In most of the cases, I have got from the companies a statement, please send me new students to me, because we want to continue with this work. Now, the last sentence is of course to congratulate to you. To you means to say graduating class, and this congratulation is not only for me personally, but also from our faculty and also from our university. Thank you very much.
As Mr. Schöck has already alluded to the historic significance of the year 2014, in which we are celebrating this commencement ceremony, we will now listen to the Ode to Joy, composed by Beethoven. This music serves as an anthem for the European Union and has special implications for German history and for German unification in particular.
졸업식을 축하하는 이 자리에서 식 이사장님이 이미 2014년도의 역사적인 의미에 대해 언급하셨듯이 들으실 다음 곡은 베토벤이 작곡한 Ode to Joy입니다. 이 곡은 유럽연합의 국가이며 독일의 역사, 특히 독일 통일에 있어 특별한 의미를 담고 있는 곡입니다.
now time for today's keynote speech by Dr. Christoph Lindenberger, the Vice President of FAU Busan campus, who today is speaking on behalf of Campus President Professor Dr. Rainer Buchholz. Please give him a round of applause.
다음으로 FAU 부산 캠퍼스 총장이신 라이너 부콜츠 교수님을 대신해 FAU 부산 캠퍼스 부총장이신 크리스토프 린덴버거 교수님의 기조연설이 있겠습니다. 많은 박수 부탁드립니다.
Dear graduating students, distinguished guests, dear guests of honor, I hope you excuse my deviation from protocol. I just had to express my immense pride in today's event, celebrating our students' achievements. Nevertheless, I would like to follow Mr. Schöck in warmly welcoming you at FAU Busan campus. Dear friends and partners of FAU Busan, dear academic colleagues, dear staff of FAU Busan, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, today we have gathered for the second time to celebrate the commencement of students from FAU Busan. I'm very glad that you have found the way in time to join us here on the campus. I'm especially delighted to welcome the parents and families of our graduating students. Firstly, I would like to apologize on behalf of FAU Busan's campus president, Dr. Rainer Buchholz, Professor Dr. Rainer Buchholz. He would have loved being up here and attending the graduation ceremony personally, but unfortunately he's not able to. But he sends a message which I want to share with you. Dear guests and friends of FAU Busan, dear parents of FAU Busan graduates, and particularly dear students. Much to my regret, I am not able to participate in the celebrations of the second generation of our students at FAU Busan. Currently, long-distance travels, taking a plane from Germany to Busan, is not possible for me, but please be sure that I am with you in my thoughts. This very day is a special moment for all of you who will graduate. I'm proud to celebrate Ms. Tia Chang, Mr. Song Cho, Ms. Yeongyun Kim, Ms. Yoo-Jin Kim, Ms. Soo Cha-Yi, Mr. Young-Wee Park, Ms. Soo-Young Park, Mr. Max Braun. I'm certain that you will soon be able to embark on a career in industry or science. I'm confident that you are all well prepared to be successful in a world of global players. I would like to congratulate you not only for successfully graduating, but also for having the courage to study at the first German university in Korea. You were confronted with German concept of lectures, practical units, and the English language as a medium of teaching. You have completed your degree under difficult conditions, more difficult than compared to studying chemical and bioengineering here in Korea. For all guests not having studied at FAU Busan, I would like to give you some examples explaining the differences between the German and the Korean teaching system. Apart from the obvious difference of English being the main language on campus, our students have to get acquainted to interactive lectures. We are deeply convinced that comprehension takes best place when students have the opportunity to discuss with each other and with the lecturer directly. This ensures that new content will be understood and students will simultaneously learn how to solve problems in a team. Block courses confront the students with a strict time management, including regular achievement tests, and thus prepare them well for the requirements of a globalized world. But above all, these courses provide the necessity to concentrate on one topic during a certain period of time. In addition to the benefits of studying here in Busan, the most important opportunity for our students is that they have the chance to deepen their studies in Germany for 1 or 2 semesters. Most of you have seized this chance, completed an internship abroad, and have compiled a master's thesis. Such an experience broadens one's horizon and can ease your way towards international industry. maybe some of you will even continue your scientific career and receive a doctoral degree in future. I wish you the very best for your personal future, as well as your careers. I hope that you will remember your alma mater fondly. Never forget that as alumni of the FAU Busan, you're always welcome in Busan and Erlangen, and that you can always expect support by staff members from FAU Busan in case you need help or advice. Enjoy today's ceremony and have a wonderful day with your family and friends. And optimistically face your future with some challenges and many possibilities. Sincerely yours, Rainer Buchholz. I still remember the day Professor Buchholz came into my office in Erlangen in early 2009, and he asked whether I would like to help planning the setup of a laboratory. I agreed without any hesitations and got more information about the FAU Busan project. This sounded very, very exciting, as only a few young researchers get the chance to set up a laboratory that can be compared with a child being able or gets a chance to design his own playground. Half a year later, Professor Buchholz asked me whether I could imagine going to Korea and building up the laboratories. I said yes within a femtosecond. I came to Busan with a group of German engineers, none of whom who had any experience in Asian culture, nor in setting up a laboratory. This time was an extraordinary experience, and even today it feels quite surreal. Going into details would lead to an endless sequence of short stories, so I just want to pick out one of our favorite days. It was in January 2011 when the entire lab furniture and most of the lab equipment arrived, all at one day. Over 30 tons had to be unloaded from containers and moved into the third floor, sorted into different lab sections. And some of you have seen today the deep sea simulator on the first floor. The frame of this machinery was delivered in one piece, 3 on 1 meter in dimensions, and 1 ton of weight. And bringing that through that small door, there was a precision job that took more than 4 hours. That day can be regarded as the birth of the laboratories, and I would like to thank the whole team from back then. I especially want to thank my predecessors, the former Vice President, Dr. Marco Baumann, who was supervising the construction phase. Even after he and his family moved back to Germany, he remains a very active member of the flying faculty, and I'm delighted that he's celebrating with us today. Together with the first student generation in March 2011, we needed to establish a routine for the lectures and practical units here at FAU campus. It took time to familiarize ourselves with Korean formalities and requirements. But our Korean co-workers, as well as the students, showed us how to combine the Korean and the German way, leading to a rather quick adaptation process. After my first block lecture here in Korea, I was quite surprised and despondent. The students learned a lot, without any question. But I had the feelings that the quintessential issue had not been delivered. So what's the difference between teaching in Korea and teaching in Germany? The language, cultural differences, and what are cultural differences anyway? In 2005, psychologist Richard Nielsbett published a study on cognition differences between Westerners and people from East Asia. They tracked eye movements while the participant was looking at pictures with one focal object in the front and a very complex background, while the Westerners focused on the object very, very quickly. The Asian participants scanned the background and then cycling the focus always from the object to the background. So that means on a picture where you see a tiger in front of the forest, it's predetermined by the culture if you recognize the tiger or the forest. Since then, since I read that study, I regularly try to update my slides from the lectures in order to optimize the knowledge transfer. But I think this process takes as long as I'm staying in Korea. So today, we are here to celebrate the graduation of students from FAU Busan for the second time. Ms. Tia Chan, Mr. Song-ho Cho, Ms. Yu-Ting Kim. In addition to its education function, FAU Busan is also a successful research laboratory. Currently, we have 5 major research projects funded by Korean and German institutions. The first projects were already completed successfully. The German Ministry of Education and Research, BMBF, is founding a transnational project with the topic biorefinery that joins the chair of process engineering with the Institute of Fluid Mechanics of FAU Germany as well as at FAU Busan. Additionally, the research consortium consists of the Technical University Hamburg-Harburg and one of German big electric utility providers, E.ON. The first project financed by the Korean Institute for Advancement of Technology, KIAT, is also to be concluded successfully. The project joined a Korean SME, AM Bio, and Dongsu University with the first German university in Korea. The focus of this project was a very lethal fish virus. Until this year, no cure or prophylaxis against this virus existed. But within this project, we found a substance that inhibits the infection with the virus and is even able to cure infected fish. Our results have been so astonishing that the German National Institute for Animal Health offered us support and financed the field test. But out of confidential reasons, I can only say that the results of the field test were much more promising than the laboratory experience. The head of the section Chemical Reaction Engineering at FAU Busan, Dr. Marco Haumann, was granted 2 research projects. Partial hydrogenation of aromatics, funded by the German Research Foundation, DFG, is coming to a close. And I'm not a chemical engineer, but judging by the master thesis from one of our graduates today, I bet the project will be a major success. The other project had a totally different character. As soon as Dr. Haumann opened the Chemical Reaction Engineering Laboratories in Korea, a Japanese company wanted to cooperate on catalyst improvement. And also here, out of confidential reasons, I cannot go into details. But this notion of transnational corporations is the foundation of FAU Busan, and once more proves that our campus is truly international. Aside from the Korean and the German students we have, we have students and employees from Spain, Italy, the Czech Republic, Indonesia, and India, making us a true intercultural lab. So simply working in the laboratories of FAU Busan is a multicultural experience. On this occasion, I want to thank all my colleagues at FAU Busan, my fellow senior scientists, Dr. Lokman and Dr. Lutzi, for their excellent work in teaching and research, as well as a small team, as we are a small team, my special thanks goes to the doctoral candidates at FAU Busan, Mr. Jose Akudo, Mr. Joachim Hahn, Ms. Sanwa Chang, Mr. Matthias Reicher, and Mr. Mark Williams. We are the backbone of the teaching and research of FAU Busan. And we will miss those who are leaving at the end of the year. Thank you for what you have done. I would also like to thank the new faces active at FAU Busan. Even those who remain with us just for a short period of time contribute actively to the development of our campus. The lectures here are mostly carried out from the so-called flying faculty. The commitment of those 10 lecturers traveling to Busan once or twice a year has to be honored. Besides the flying faculty, FAU Busan has one more category, the frequent travelers. Those people are needed in both countries, most of the time simultaneously. Katharina Sommer, thank you for your great support in all circumstances. At the end of my remarks, I would like to refocus our attention on today's graduates. Our students may not yet be as diverse as academic staff of FAU Busan, but they are certainly beginning to embark on this journey. The academic background of our students is diverse. We have students who majored in mechanical engineering, bioscience, or pharmaceutics. Some students previously worked in industry and decided to pursue a master's degree. Such a decision, leaving behind a career and deciding to return to university to learn more, demands respect. During their studies, most of the graduates went to Germany for the internships, their studies or their master's thesis. Some stayed for 6 months, others for 1.5 years, and one is still in Germany and one will stay for longer. And another one, he went the opposite way. He moved from Germany to Korea to finish his studies here. Usually master's theses are compiled in the laboratories of the university. Our students, however, made use of the wide variety of options. Some opted for industry, whereas others opted for research institutes in Germany as well as in Korea. I'm aware of all the different paths they followed, and I'm happy to see that the studies convey a sense of uniqueness, the combination of an interdisciplinary engineering education and their personal development. As today marks the day you are about to embark on your professional future, I'm proud that you have already begun to spread around the world. The second student generation graduating from FAU Busan will serve as ambassadors for German global engineering made in Korea. 감사합니다.
The moment we have all been waiting for has finally arrived. I would like to ask the graduation students to rise. It is now time for the conferral of the degrees.
감사합니다. 마침내 저희 모두가 함께 오랫동안 기다려왔던 시간이 왔습니다. 지금부터 학위 수여식이 진행되겠습니다. 졸업생들께서는 무대 위로 올라와 주십시오.
Mr. Songho Cho.
조성호.
Mrs. Yoo-jin Kim.
김유진.
Wolfgang Kind.
김연경.
Mrs. Sucha Lee.
이수자.
Mrs. Suyeon Park.
박수연.
Mr. Chong Hee Park, who is currently in Germany.
현재 독일 수료 중인 박종희.
And Mr. Max Brown.
막스 브라운.
Our last musical interlude today was composed by Christoph Willibald Gluck. As the Bavarian composer will be celebrating his 300th birthday this year, it is fitting that for today's joyful occasion we are going to listen to the Dance of the Blessed Spirits, as the graduates have begun celebrating the successful completion of their education.
오늘을 장식할 마지막 곡은 크리스토프 빌리바드 그룹이 작곡한 오르페오와 에우리디체의 댄스 오브 더 브레스트 스피릿입니다. 올해
Ladies and gentlemen, the final contribution of today's festivities. The second generation of the graduating student of FAU Busan campus will now provide us with a glimpse into the past 2 years, studying, living and working at FAU in both Korea and Germany.
오늘 행사의 마지막은 FAU 부산 캠퍼스 2기 졸업생들이 장식해주겠습니다. 지난 2년여의 시간을 돌아보면서 FAU 부산 캠퍼스와 독일 본교에서의 생활, 또 한국과 독일에서의 인턴십 과정 등을 통해서 경험하고 느꼈던 것들을 발표하겠습니다. 여러분의 많은 관심 부탁드립니다.
Hello everyone, my name is Yeon-kyung Kim and I will briefly present about my master's thesis in Busan today. After I entered this school, I got a chance to work as a student helper at Chemical Engineering Lab assisting Mark. At that time, he was concentrating on the selective hydrogenation of benzene in continuous gas phase. I became interested in that research and I naturally decided to write thesis with him. As you know, there are large amounts of benzene in crude oil. However, these simple benzene molecules are toxic and carcinogenic. The use of benzene are prohibited. If we can produce this desired product instead of cyclohexane, this product can be easily converted to value-added products by simple reactions. However, it is difficult thermodynamically to obtain cyclohexane in high selectivity. Therefore, some special modification to the catalyst is necessary to preserve some of the intermediates. To explain this skill concept simply, it is combination of nanoparticle design and the ionic liquid coating. By coating the catalyst with thin ionic liquid layer, we can design the catalyst activity and selectivity. Thanks to the ligand and solubility effects of ionic liquid, we could find the best ionic liquid for our target reactions. Also, these ruthenium dendrimer encapsulated nanoparticles catalysts, which are generated by Dr. Antoinette, these nano-sized ruthenium catalysts are appropriate to produce intermediates. Through the ionic liquid screening test, we selected the best ionic liquid showing good performance. Finally, the novel concept of skill, we improved 40 times higher yield than when we use commercial ruthenium alloys catalyst. And I found the best combination with generation 6 dendrimer catalyst with ionic liquid, OMIM and JEF2. Since the possibilities of making skill catalysts are best, the concept is still promising. At first, it was somehow difficult for me to adjust the German teaching way. When we have some problem or something to solve, they never let us know the answer directly. They always make us to think and solve the problem by ourselves. It helped me a lot personally, since I was educated in Korean style. Now I will leave this school with all the good memories with FAU Busan. Thank you. I will take my turn to Sung-ho July.
Thank you for coming today. My name is Song Ho-jo. I'd like to explain my thesis briefly. During the research, Dr. Christoph Lindenberg helped me a lot for scientific advances as my supervisor. I worked at CRIT in Daejeon for 6 months to research my thesis with Dr. Dong Hwang as my supervisor too. My topic is regarding to catalytic conversion from biomass to chemicals. Before explaining my thesis, I'd like to introduce my institute, CRIT. CRIT means Korea Research Institute of Chemical Technology. There are large 5 departments in CRIT. For example, green chemistry and engineering, and advanced materials, drugs discovery and consecutive convergence chemistry, and R&D support. Among these parts, I participate in green chemistry and engineering as a research student. The main tasks are including the catalyst development of the chemicals from the biomass, and development of the biorefining process using nanocatalyst. And the development of the biorefinery process, and they can also study about hybrid nanocatalyst. The objective of my research is to enhance the catalytic activity of the chemical process. HMF is the reactant from the biomass of corn, and the FDCA is the desired product. And the process was to oxidize HMF to FDCA using gold hydroxide supported gold nanoparticles catalyst. And FDCA can utilize the polymer, polyester, and polyurethane, and epoxy resins. The result was that the HMF was fully converted to the FDCA. The FDCA will reach to 100% during oxidation for 1 hour in the pressure system. The reaction also influences the oxygen pressure, temperature, catalyst amount, kind of support. I found the optimal reaction conditions by variation of the reaction parameters. And gold hydroxide catalyst is an effective heterogeneous catalyst for this reaction. If you want to know more about this, feel free to contact me anytime. During my research, I thought some important matters for preparing thesis. What is the most important thing? Of course, creative idea is important, but I thought following these matters were important for me. First, effective time management, about balance, research, study, and relax. Second, the arrangement habit. So for a lot of data from the experiment, so we should collect the data effectively. And third, continuous conversation with the supervisor, with even colleagues. And fourth, teamwork. The synergy can sometimes solve the difficult problems, and it is connected to the continuous conversation with the professor. Fifth, the responsibility. To your master thesis, that means you could use ownership during the master thesis. And lastly, about patience. To write the thesis, it was not funny, not that funny task, so you need to take a rest sometimes. Always keep in mind, never give up. And this picture is create people in me. I want to finish my talk by saying that I'm so grateful to my parents and FAU people and Creek people. Without your big support and understanding, it would have been impossible for me to finish my master's degree. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Jia Zhang, and since last year I entered this university and I spent more than half of my studying in Korea, and now I did my experiment for my thesis in Germany for a while in this year. So I want to introduce my thesis for a while in the first, and then later I will show you how the student life in Korea actually is. So first one is my thesis that I investigated the particle diffusion coefficient in ionic liquids by dynamic light scattering. It's kind of mixture of chemical reaction engineering skill and thermodynamic or optical metrology. So here is my ionic liquid of interest. And then this scheme is my experimental scheme that is showing how the measurement is done. Here, so with my laser, I measure some property of ionic liquid. For example, I measure the viscosity here, and this viscosity is important for later for use of industry that will be used for absorption of carbon dioxide among the exhaust gas. And this is my experimental setup. So I used some laser source here, and the mirror and lens for focusing the laser beams. And this here cupid holder is my sample inside. And then I measured I detected the signal here with photomultiplier, and the signal is processed with correlator later, and then I could get some experimental result. And this is kind of my experimental result that I measured viscosity of 3 different ionic liquid here, and then after that we also compared our result with literature data. It was kind of really successful skill that we have developed, and then later we will publish this data as a result. And from here I want to introduce our life in Busan. It was not my favorite task that I should do because as a Korean in Korea, I could just live normally. And then when I want to just when I should abbreviate my last 2 years in my university life, then I can abbreviate with 3 maxima. It's the hardest studying, and the greatest fun, and the hardest drinking. So my driving force for studying was more or less just fun. And I want to share some episodes that since there was not that much restaurant around here, and we are students, so we start to cook all together, all the meals. But there is one side effect. The more cook, the more party we have. Here, almost every time except for studying, we spend a lot of time also partying, and whenever there is some special official conference or some event, then also it was continued to partying in the end. And we also had an excursion with our colleagues. This was the picture from Helm Beach, and this one we last with Sang. He's now in Germany. This is our colleague semester. And then one more fun was our campus is established quite newly, so we should, or we would like to advertise our university to another people or in all over the Korea. So we made our own film, and that was done by all the staff or colleagues of mine. So this is the picture of the day when we shoot the films. And this is, maybe some are interested in this picture, that this is beer chicken. Some had a kind of insight. One of our colleagues got inside to try this, and then it was very successful. So I'm also planning to spend less of my weeks here with the cooking session in university. Am I allowed? So it was also kind of fun. And of course, we not only did partying, but also we studied really hard. I could not imagine that I should work or study this much hard. If I could study more harder than previously in my life, then I could go to maybe the top university in Korea. So this is kind of practical course that we make our own beer here. And then this picture with Professor Van Dry. After lecture, we took a picture. And also here with my professor for the thesis, we took a picture after the lecture. Maybe I cannot show you all of my memory during the last 2 years, but I hope that you could understand how the life of the student here in Korea is. And the most important thing that I want to say here in this point is really thank you so much for everybody who helped us directly or indirectly during our studying. Thank you a lot. I want to introduce Mr. Max Brown for the next.
Hello everybody, my name is Max Brown. I'm a master's student from Germany, and I stayed here for 8 months to write my master's thesis and to complete my whole studies. First, I would like to introduce my topic to you. My topic was spiky branch nanoparticles, production opportunities and catalysis. Just to give you a short impression what our work looked like. So first of all, we tried to get gold into nanoform. When you have gold in a bulk form, it's not catalytic reactive, but when you break it down to nanomaterial, it gets pretty reactive in reduction reactions, for example. How did we do that? There's a method called bottom-up method. You can see that on the right side here. And for this, you need normally the metal in solution, you need a reducing agent, the stabilizer, and then you can produce your nanoparticles. We wanted to use light instead of normally used heat, and this also worked quite well, like I will show you on the next slide. Possible applications for these nanoparticles are in medicine, in biology, but also in catalysis. And of course, we are at the CRT, so that's why we focused on catalysis. My results, very compressed. So you can see here on the left side, the higher the intensity is, the yeah, the less time you use or the less time you need to produce nanoparticles. So that was quite successful. The more energy you give in with light, the faster the production can take place. And another hint was that with light we can also direct the morphology of the particles, and that you can see here on the pictures. So you can see the particles are all in the same size and range, and this picture is from the highest intensity. And when you reduce the intensity, then you also get different forms. We also managed to keep the morphology of the particles and attaching them to a support, because normally when you have nanoparticles and they have a big surface energy, you always have the problem that the particles like to agglomerate, and then you lose surface area for your catalytic reaction. We managed to get them on a support, and the next step would be to also research a little bit more in the field of the kinetic. Already also had a look at spiky particles. They were produced from Busan National University. This was a cooperation between FAU Busan and the PNU. And what we found, you can see here. So the more surface area you have, the better the conversion is. So that is also quite, this was a quite successful cooperation. But now I also want to show you what are my impressions from Korea as a German student here. And first of all, I want to start, I also worked in Germany at the CRT, as well as, of course, for the master's thesis then here in Korea too. So I think I can compare the two, the two ways of research. In Germany, you have a lot of experts. The chair there is very big, and you have a lot of different expertise from different persons, and yeah, it's very easy to also measure, or when you have a problem, you just go there. You work normally on one task, but you have a lot of people who can you can ask. Here it is a little bit different. It's a small campus, but that gives you also the opportunity to do a lot of your by yourself. You learn a lot. You learn to be creative, to solve problems. But nevertheless, there are always open ears, and you can also communicate with Germany at that chair. And what was very good for me is also that I got a lot of responsibility right at the beginning, and the people here encouraged me a lot, and I'm thankful for that. Yes. As a German in Korea, it is quite challenging. It is a totally different culture. When I came here, this was like it was not a shock, but so to say a culture shock. But I decided to come here, and it was not difficult to decide because I also already stayed a while in China and Malaysia, so I accepted the challenge. And like you can see here in the picture, you can experience a lot of culture here. You know that your culture is awesome and beautiful. You have a lot of good food, even if it can be a little bit dangerous. You can see on the right picture because of the fugu and the poisonous. And on the right picture here, I was out with friends, and there was the opportunity to try the clothes, the traditional clothes, and yes, it fit quite well, even if I think it looks a little bit funny. So. But yeah, it was very, very fun to experience that. I already talked about responsibility and the cooperation between PNU and FAU. And you are treated as an equal partner, as a real partner when you work in the lab. So there are PhD students and master students, but you get a lot of respect, and I also did a lot of work on my own, and that was very good. In our globalized world, it is very important to also spread your network a little bit further, and that was exactly the situation. I got to know a lot of students and a lot of professors at the PNU. That was a very good opportunity. And as the only German student at the university at this time point. You also get the chance to get famous a little bit, because when the TV is coming for an interview, they always wanted to also interview the German student. So that was always quite funny. Network is very important these days, but also friends. And I think I made a lot of friends here, and I'm very thankful to know you all now, even if there are about 9,000 kilometers between us. And it is very easy as a German student to access here. So the people are very friendly. They are always helpful. I never experienced a situation when I was kind of lost in the city. There was always some people coming to me and asking me, can I help you, even if they do not speak English. So that was very, very good. You also get the chance to learn a different language. You normally do not learn in Europe, and I try to, learn a little bit Korean. If it was successful or not, that is your decision, or the decision of the Korean friends here. Yes, I'm very thankful for knowing you all. Thank FAU Busan, and especially also Mark Williams, who supported me all the time, my supervisor. And hopefully we can keep in touch, and hopefully you can visit me in Germany, so you're warm welcome there. Thank you very much.
Hello, I am Suyeon Park, and I want to talk about that how study in German life. So, at first, before the presentation, I'm really pleased to be in here. I can enjoy both cultural stuff during FAU Busan and FAU Erlangen also. So it was really grateful and pleased time for me. And I did plenty of events during the Germany. I can say in the school life and the cultural life, I can separately talk about it. At first time when I visited Germany, I never talked about any German, even though after today I cannot say any stuff. So I started from there, so I studied further, and from now on, after the German life, I can talk with my friend in German a little bit, but I cannot really naturally like natives. I cannot do that. It's so sad. And then I studied the other separation, especially the membrane separation. I studied during the German FAU. So it was really meaningful to me because I never studied about this kind of the separation engineering stuff. So it was really grateful. And this is kind of the theory that we usually say we are working in the laboratory. Especially I worked in the separation experiments, and after the 4 or 5 months I experienced over there, I studied and I worked a lot, and I can feel what I want to do next future. And also I studied in the LSCM from the Professor Legado, fluid mechanics, especially like the agar project and the high pressure experiment I did. It was so interesting part that I never heard before, and I never experienced in here FAU Busan, so it was so meaningful to me. And then this is kind of the practical course that totally different ways of the FAU Busan. So kind of this is named the Soxlet reaction. I never heard about that also, and even if the small kind of the reaction center in FAU Busan, we have never can experience like this, but we can do, and we can experience, and we can feel what we can do after a while. So it was really good. And this is totally different in Busan and Germany, especially in here. The kind of the library in Busan is so small, and Erlangen, it was grateful. So I can see there are not many English books over there, but I can see and look through the German. Okay, with the pictures, I can see what they want to say. So it was really good. And then this is from here. I can show you about the cultural stuff. At first, when we are in Germany, we have the chance to visit the Schlossgarten party, and we were kind of the guests. Thanks for the professors, and we had a really meaningful time, and we can experience like the different cultural stuff we can experience. And in Korea, some kind of the university has this kind of the like closing ceremony, but in here it has kind CBIT summer party was held. So during that, the different atmosphere, the party was happening, and we can enjoy the difference of the culture, so we can feel. And even though when we go to Germany, we never think behind about the beer. So even the Berg is like, no, most of the people knows of the beer about the Oktoberfest, but in here, this is right in Erlangen, the FAU is situated. It holds this kind of the fest. So we enjoyed over there. In my case, I lived over there 1.5 years. So I visited 2 times from there, and it was really grateful and different type of the tasty or like different cultural types we can enjoy. And also like Oktoberfest also I enjoyed, and these were really different that I thought. Like with the television or the booth, it was really grateful and feel like different that we experienced in Korea, but it was really, I can feel like this is really German kind of the festival. I can say that. So it was really grateful. So these are that I felt during in the Germany, and I really recommend if you have the chance for the next like followers, then I wish you can enjoy every step in the Germany also. And this is really meaningful chance for us to be work and feel the different cultural effect and the study life in here and Germany. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's too late to present my presentation, so I tried to finish my presentation so fast, but I'm not sure. My name is Suzali. I will present about the internship in Germany. So I did my internship in the Andernach in Germany. Before going to there, I never heard about Andernach, but I have to go because of I have to finish my internship. So the company name is Lumen Therapy System. The company is one of the pharmaceutical company. They focus on the just pets. I think in South Korea is really well known about Kimite. I did my internship for 6 months, and before starting my internship for 2 months, I did prepare my internship in LSTM. This picture is just show at the buildings of the LTS. And just I will briefly explain about what I did in the company. Just I focus on the pharmaceutical patch, and as you can, this slide is the patch consists of the 2 layers. One is the active layer. This layer included in medicine, and this layer is the support this layer. So I have to analyze which point is making the even surface fillings. So I did the experiments with this coating process. I know this is quite complicated, so just I briefly explain. As I told about this, just I focus on the I have tools, analyze tools, what is point to making the even point. So I use this equation, so I did several experiments about this. So this is the result of my experience. So this is one of my experiments. So as you can see, this picture is every surface is even, but you can find in these here, this is not even. So this is not good for company. So I have to find which is the critical point to be produced is even points. I did it. So I did it the experiment, but I cannot exactly point. So I have to do further. So I have to learn about the 3D simulations of the cases you can see here. So in this case is we cannot make the even surface. So according to this result, the company considers when they produce the patch is they have to consider the speed. So my result of this internship, before starting to experiment, I'm already calculate about this. So the theoretical result is 0.1. And the experiment result between 0.4 and 0.5. And simulations point is 0.5 and 0.6. So I think is that this point is more correct than the others. But I can explain everything about my internship. So if you have interesting about this topic, just write email to here. I can explain more detail. So I think is I want to explain about the more how feelings in when I did my internship in Germany, because I think my next generation is really curious about that. So I can say is that it has the advantage and disadvantage. The advantage is I think I can feel horizontal relationship with my supervisor, and I can talk everything with my supervisor. And if I want to experiment about something, they support perfectly. And they're really nice, and compared to Korea, its working time is really short. And I think week workings compared to Korea. But they also have the disadvantage because I can speak German a little bit, but if I work with the workers, work in the factory, I have to speak in German fluently. That is the one problem to me. So I think if you want to work as intern in Germany, I would recommend to learn German very hard. And the other thing is the location is countryside, but I think this is really used to you because of this company is also located in countryside. And the other thing is loneliness, but I think this is you can overcome in this problem. And finally, I prepared one video because of I think this is the best choice to show about my intern life. Can you run to my video? It takes 1.5 minutes. Yeah, here is she is my colleague. She is colleague, we visit the Elf Rock. It was a really great time. She was the other supervisor. Here is Koblenz near the Andernach. I lived there when I did my internship. We visit the mountains for watching some festivals. And we visit kind of the outside music festival. and we needed ride bicycles along the Rhine rivers and Moselle River. And we did make traditional Korean food in one of colleague house. They prepared a lot of presents for you in final day. It was really touching to me. So thank you for listening to my presentations. And before things up, I want to say in Korean, 석사 과정을 마칠 수 있게 도와주신 저희 가족께 감사드립니다. Thank you for listening.
Hello everyone, thank you for your attention. 오랜 시간 동안 집중해 주셔서 감사합니다. I'd like to share about my experiences in FAU Busan. And my topic is friendship and network. Before I start my presentation, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Yujin Kim, 김유진이라고 합니다. And I have studied in FAU Busan. I studied all the lectures and I took all the examination in FAU Busan. And then I went to Germany for my internship course. And it was, the region was Obertraubling. It was some southern part of the Germany. It was near Regensburg. Anyway, I did my internship in Kronis. And then I came back to Busan to do my master's thesis. And then after doing my master's thesis for 6 months in Busan, my thesis work has been combined with my supervisor's work, and it was published in international conferences. So I could participate in conference which was held in France in last month. So with these experiences, I could get so precious friendship, and I could get really great and meaningful networks. So I'd like to introduce those of them. As you heard in the previous slide or previous in the presentation, in the FAU Busan, all the lectures are in English, and it requires a lot of interaction and many discussions. And because many German friends are coming in here, we had to study together. So we had to make kind of cooperation. So during that cooperation and during the teamwork study, I could learn how to communicate or how to share my idea beyond the culture and beyond the languages. So with that time, I could meet really precious people, Korean friends and German friends, and one of the German friends became my really great friend until now. So during that really special environment which has 2 languages and 3 languages, which requires some cooperations, I could learn about communication, and cooperations beyond the cultures and languages. And I would like to share something about my internship life. As I said, I was doing my internship in company Kronis, and because I had to commute company every day, I had to find some house or home to commute there. My choice was to live in a really traditional German-style village. In fact, it wasn't my choice. I had no choice, but I had to go there. The house was made of wood, and it was kind of, the region I was living in was really German traditional region. It was called Niedertraubling, you know. as its name shows, it was really German style and traditional style. So I was living in three-floor house. It was made of wood, and the house was owned by one old and kind grandfather, and he lended some room for internship students or some students who are studying there. So, as you can see there on the left part, in neighbor, one African woman was living near my home. So her name was Shala, and whenever I feel tired after the whole tough working in company, she invited me to share her dinner together. So on those pictures, Dilara and Dilan, 2 of them were daughter of Shala. So Shala was African woman and Shala married Turkish guy. And it was kind of mixed cultural family, and I could be invited to their home and we could have dinner together. I was playing with them, and whenever I feel lonely and whenever I feel I missed my family, they were so familiar with me, so that I could feel like I was in home or something like that. So because of their kindness, I could be emotionally stable in that time. And during my internship, those girls are all internship students who were in Krones when I was doing my internship. So as an internship student who are studying in German university, I could compete with them, and I could study with them, and I could work with them. It was really good and big privilege for me. The lefty girl was called the woman over there came from München, and the other girl came from Berlin, and the other girl came from Erlangen. The reason why I'm saying about their region is I could meet other German students who came from different universities. In FAU Busan, I could only meet German students who were in Erlangen, but in internship, I could study and be with another student who are studying engineering in different region of Germany. So we could share our thoughts and we could go festival together, as we can see in this picture. And among those girls, one girl were from Erlangen, and she was also studying in same institution of my LSTM. So we could share our study life, and we could share our thinking, and we could share our academic things, and we could share our private life as a girl. So I could be really happy with her, and she is one of my best friends still now. We are communicating even these days. And lastly, what I want to tell you is, after my thesis work, as I said, it was combined with my supervisor's work, and it was published in international conference. So thanks to support of my professor and BB21, I could participate in 10th EAWE. It was a European Unit Conference, and as a master course student who is about to graduate, it was really big honor for me because it was PhD seminar. All the presentation and all posters were made by PhD students. So it was a little bit hard for me, but I could get so many impressions about the field that I will study after my graduation. After my graduation, I will keep study about wind energy. So because it was conferences related with wind energy, I could meet so many professors and so many PhD students who are studying the field that I will study. So I could communicate with them, and I could directly see their research works. So it was really great and meaningful time for me. If I couldn't participate, or if I couldn't be supported by my professor and BB21 and school, then I could not be there. And as the only Korean student who was participating there, I felt that I could get so many and great meaningful experiences and networks which will be continued in the future. And after the conferences in France, I could have really fun time, as you can see in those pictures, and it was also fun. And the people whom I met in there is also still one of my friends. And as you can see over there in Facebook, and with sending and receiving some postcards, I could keep the relationship, and I could keep the friendship. So thanks to FAU Busan system, and thanks to many support that I have received in this school, I could get really great opportunity and experiences and academic things. And furthermore, honestly, I do not have many friends, but I do have really few friends who are really meaningful for my life, even in these days. So I feel totally grateful for this school, and totally grateful for all the professors, teachers, and employers, and all the people in FAU Busan, and my parents and my friends. 엄마, 아빠, 할머니 고맙습니다. Thank you so much.
Distinguished guests, the commencement ceremony of FAU Busan campus is coming to a close. We thank you for your patience. On behalf of the CEO and the Vice President, we would like to invite you to join the reception in the foyer. Thank you very much.
FAU 부산 캠퍼스 제2회 졸업식을 마치겠습니다. 오랜 시간 함께해 주셔서 감사합니다. 최 이사장님과 부총장님을 대신해 여러분께 초대의 말씀을 드리고자 합니다. 이 시기 마친 후 로비에 연회가 마련되어 있으니 한 분도 빠짐없이 연회에 참석하셔서 즐거운 시간을 가졌으면 합니다. 연회에서는 FAU 부산 캠퍼스에서 직접 제조한 주스도 시음하실 수 있습니다. 감사합니다.
Yeah, but you are taking the medicine, please. They have to have some skills so that they can understand what the lectures are, but I think they get that proficiency.
Ist wieder rüber.
Egal ob Korea oder nur die Koreaner
Sie das so sehen, dann freut mich das besonders. Also wenn wir das so anschauen, no need to go there.
Yeah, my first day.
Eine für die alle und eine für die beiden. But at the same time, these 5 big containers came with this tons of milk. And so I was
Has the ticket? Yeah.
Yes, you are interpreting the
No.
I think
I read it all.
it was all about what you said in here.
Please read this. For me, read this. No chance.
I can't read. Ich glaube, das ist so ein bisschen was in Koreanisch zu üben. Ja, das ist beim gestern heimmachen, ja, aber nicht so viel. 1, 2. Ja, und das ist dann üben wir das. Ja, aber die wollen ja auch. Also alles gesehen? Ja. Super, dass du gekommen bist. So.
Can I join the picture at least? No?
Yes.
Andere Seite.
Wishes from your college, from your friends. Yes. Most are in Korean, so I don't understand them. Yeah. One of favorite students is pretty. University. I know. I hope you enjoyed it here. I hope you learned a little bit. A lot. And